Welcome to Chuck and Chubby Sports, where we back and are yapping. We ain't never capping, not subtracting. So what's happening? This ain't the coaches and pros, the X's and O's. This is the fans' point of view and what you know. This ain't the coaches and pros, the X's and O's. This is the fans' point of view and what I know. This ain't the coaches and pros, the X's and O's. This is the fans' point of view and what we know. This ain't the coaches and pros, the X's and O's. This is the fans' point of view and what we know. So let's go.
Yo, what's going on with everybody up out there today, man? What's going on? Man. So, man, look, my co-host, he running a little late today, y'all. But rock with me. I got to hold it down for my mans while he is out tending to some family business right now. But we got to keep the show rolling. We got to give y'all what y'all want. If he could join us, man, he will be in later, man. You know what I'm saying? But look, I got to keep it rolling. We had a live packed show for y'all. Believe it, we're going to be bringing y'all that good content. Right now, I'm going to get into a Big Ten breakdown, and then he's going to jump in. But we got some juicy stuff for later. I didn't want to do it without Shad. I said, I got to save the best for when me and Shad get up on here. You feel me? That's my dog, man. That's my guy, man, and he's handling some family business. But I appreciate y'all up in here rocking with me. Make sure that y'all liking the show. Y'all sharing it with everybody up out there. I appreciate it. What up, South Coast Kane in the building? Cuban Kane in the building. I see y'all early birds up in here. What's up with y'all, man? We about to gut up here and we about to break down the Big Ten, man. You know, the Big Ten is huge right now, right? And yes, he is, man. He is, man. He's very good people, man. Very good people. He's a very good person. You know, from the very first time, let me tell y'all a little quick story real quick before we get up into this, if I may. The very first time that I linked up with Shad, man, I was scrolling through channels. I seen him like a couple of my videos, leave some comments, and his comments was different. He was leaving constructive criticism type comments to my content. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of me getting better at what I've done and what I do is because of Shad. You feel what I'm saying? Not when a lot of people out here would just say things, get in your comments, just talk a lot of junk. He was like, look, I like you, brother. I like your delivery. I like the way you rocking out with it. You're consistent. But you know what I'm saying? XYZ, you know what I'm saying? To do the ABCs, you know? And for that alone, man, look, and then he was on his channel one time and he's sitting there, he's going through the Miami Hurricanes. Now, I follow all of college football, and for a long time, I've been saying the Miami Hurricanes, to me, had the best run defense in the ACC or whatever. And he had a link, he had a link up in his chat, and I clicked on the link. I came on his show live, and look, man, we had a chemistry like no other. You would have thought that me and him knew each other for years and years. The way that we talk about football, the way we understand the game, the way we research the game, the way we study the game, and our love for the game. You know what I'm saying? So with that, man, like that's my bro, man. You know what I'm saying? Through thick and thin. And I gotta hold it down for him. You know, he's attending to some family business. If he wants to tell y'all what's going on, then y'all go ahead, man. You know what I'm saying? I would love Cuban, man, jumping on something, man. I never jumped on nothing with Cuban, but Cuban's been a great supporter. You know what I'm saying? You have been a great supporter of me, and I appreciate all of y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because look, it's tough out here, you know what I mean? It's tough for me. Can I be real with y'all for a minute one time? It's tough for me to get my own family to lock on to my stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody sees your vision but you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, we just gonna get up into it. You know what I mean? I don't want to get up into too much. We gonna get up into it though. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's get up into it. First off, man, we is going to go jump on Illinois. Now, I'm bad with names, but believe it or not, I have done my homework and it is paper thick. It's so thick. Listen to that. Don't even sound like one paper. You heard me? We be on it, bruh. We be on it. So Illinois led by Coach Brett Bielema, right? Although he was around Bill Belichick in New England as a defensive consultant at first, and then he moved to be a defensive line coach, right? And they did win. He do has a ring from the Los Angeles Rams. His teams just not have been consistent at the collegiate level. They just haven't, y'all. They just not, like, for real. They just really have not been, except for the early 2000s when he was with Wisconsin. And I will say that he continues to develop a lot of talent. Now with the Fighting Alumni, they was not bowl eligible, but the team seems to be trending backwards right now. It really is, y'all. It's just it seems to be going backwards out there, and that's tough right now. And that's tough for them. It really is. And like I said, though, he knows how to develop defensive linemen. So when watching the Illinois Fighting Alumni this season, y'all, I would be looking forward to see what they're going on in the trenches and what's that's looking like with them picking up Dennis Briggs Jr. from Florida State, Anthony Johnson, the defensive lineman from Youngstown State, and Anise Sledge from Auburn. Okay, now he went big boy heavy. He tends to go big boy heavy in the transfer portal. And they went bonkers on that. And they did just that. So will he have Illinois ready to compete? I don't know. But when you get to looking at the product that he does develop out there, for instance, let's take Jer'Zhan Newton, the 6'2", 295 from Illinois. He is a top defensive lineman in this year's draft, and everybody loves him, right? You know what I'm saying? And you got a returning linebacker and Dylan Ryzek. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be a beast. He was in the 16th in the Big Ten with total tackles. He had 82 total tackles, 52 solo, and 30 assisted tackles, 1 sack, and 4 forced fumbles. So when I'm saying that Brett Bielema knows how to develop defensive talent, he knows just how to do that, and he will attack that in the Big Ten. Now, and closing out and saying this with this team right here, because it would be longer if my co-host was here, but he'll jump up in here. They are a type of team that'll ruin your whole season. So you have to respect them when playing them. You cannot play around with playing them, and playing them will only play yourself, and you will wind up not playing at all. You heard me? So you better be ready, because they know how to develop some talent over there. But remember that he spent time under Bill Belichick, that head coach over there at Illinois. He was a defensive line coach, so he knows what he's doing over there when it comes to them big guys in the trenches, man. And Illinois does always seem to have at least 1 or 2 going into the draft that are very draft eligible that a lot of teams are looking at. So that's where we get that from. And I just wanted to, that was a cool note for me to put down. You heard me? So we're going to keep it moving on to the next one, man. The next one, Iowa. Yes, Iowa. This is a team led by head coach Kirk Ferentz, right? They only had 4 losing seasons, y'all. The most recent came in 2012 in his 25 years as a head coach. That is great, y'all. That is great. In the 4 losing seasons, if you want me to name them to y'all, that was in 99, 2000, 2006, and then 2012. And it's 25 years at being there. So first off, I would like to say that Iowa, to me, is a program of stability, and that is hard to come by at the collegiate level, especially with nowadays the transfer portal and everything else. And I believe that attracts a lot of talent to Iowa, and I like that about them. Now, they only lost 6 players to the transfer portal and 2 to the NFL draft, and they brought in arguably the best lineman, as we know, Caden Proctor from Alabama. Iowa losing their bowl game to Tennessee might have some people thinking they might not be competitive, but I don't know. Don't get too caught up in them losing to Tennessee in the bowl game, because their whole roster will be returning, and they is coming back to redeem themselves. And they have both quarterbacks returning. Deacon Hill, 6'3", 258, only a sophomore. Now, in that L, he took out that blowout loss we seen against Michigan, against the crown champs in that division. He did not turn the ball over. That is key. That is a key thing to pay attention to, and a key thing to watch when you're looking at that. If you ask me, him only being a sophomore, he's only in the 2nd season in college, eligible season. Nowadays they get 7, 8. I don't know, but I will look up into that. All right. Now, he finished that game he was 18 for 32, 120 yards, 56% of his passes. He didn't get no touchdowns, no interceptions, which is important. He was sacked 4 times. Now, K, the transfer from Michigan that went over to Iowa, as y'all all know, he got injured during the Michigan State game, which ended his season early, but he will be returning to compete for the starting job up in Iowa. They have a lot to look forward to up there, especially with returning the running back with Sean Williams. He will be returning for a senior season. He was the number 6 running back in the Big Ten. He had 170 carries for 821 yards. He was averaging 4.8 yards a carry. You could say 5. I wouldn't be mad at you for that. A touchdown, 12 receptions for 68 yards, a touchdown, a fumble in the Michigan State game. It was some inconsistencies due to the offensive line problems, but I can't, that's what it really is. There was the offensive line to me, and that's what I believe. If you believe different, I won't be mad at you. You know what I'm saying? We could talk it out and we could, build up on that. But I do believe leading the Big Ten and tackling machine, Jay Higgins, 6'2", 233, he will be returning to play with the Hawkeyes. Now, that's a problem. That he's a problem. He was leading the Big Ten in tackles, Jay Higgins, and that him coming back there and leading that defense and knowing exactly what it takes to get to the next point, because they were a roughly young team. They only lost 2 to the NFL draft and 6 in the transfer portal. And nowadays that is great, because on average, there's at least 11 players leaving each team. And out of those 11 players, they're probably losing 4 good players on either two off of offense and 2 off of defense, but they're at least losing 4 good players to help that team win. And that right there, what I was doing is great. And I believe it or not, y'all, I do believe we will see this team compete in or for the Big Ten championship again. Do not be surprised if you see them there again. I'm a fan of what's going on, especially when I start doing my research on these teams, man. Let's see what we got up here in the chat real quick, man. Let's see. All right. Nobody up in the chat yet. That's okay. We're going to keep it rolling. Now, we have Indiana University. Y'all like Indiana, like when they part of the Big Ten, right? They part of the Big Ten, so they get up on here, you feel me? And they get a round of applause, man. But Curt Cignetti, y'all, right? He's the head coach over there. Now, he took over a whole mess in Indiana, a whole mess. But the man seemed to be cleaning up with that Fabuloso. I like that lavender Fabuloso, which I like. I like that lavender Fabuloso. You clean up with that, it smells real good. My wife always give me a lot of loving when I clean up with that, when I mop the floor. Yeah, anyway, like that. Look, anyway, y'all. Look, he never had a losing season as a head coach. We all know he was at James Madison Dukes, right? This is where that coach come from. And he brought the Dukes with him over there. You hear me? Brought them with him. And they never have been. And they was on the uprise when he left. And since he's been there, he clearly knows what he's doing. In 2021, he led the Dukes to a 12-2 season. In 2022, they were 8-3. 2023, they were 11-1. We seen that. So as the head coach of the Dukes, he was total of 52-9. That's crazy. I really like what he's done and what he's brought to and from the Dukes. You know what I'm saying? Which has me thinking that the players really like him because they followed him over there. You see a lot of college coaches leave teams and you think that a lot of their players will follow them, and they don't. There's some that do, but you could damn near say that every player that is ready to play and loves football went from James Madison over to Indiana University with their head coach Curt. And that says a lot in its own. You know what I'm saying? You could take what you want from that and add that on there. But to me, that says that these young men love the game of football. They love to play football. And look, and he's a hell of a head coach. Now, I like his strategy. He has a different strategy after going after developmental talent. He has an eye for it. We got to say that because he had James Madison on a different level. And if he could take that and put that into the Power 5, up in the Big Ten. Oh my goodness, man. The future's looking bright for Indiana. They only could go up from here. But let me get back into it. I get sidetracked a lot. I do, man. But just stay with me. But a lot of players want to look at the bag and who's going to love the game. Quarterback, if you've been watching my shows, Curtis Ryuk, I put a video out on me. 6'5, 231 pounds. I like to call him the Canadian kid out there slinging the rock. Now, he did coach Philip Rivers. This is important because Curtis Ryuk, coming from Ohio Bobcats, 6'5, 231. Curt Cignetti coached Philip Rivers. Also had time, like, and when you're looking at Ben Roethlisberger, Philip Rivers, that body type, Josh Allen, Curtis Ryuk has just that, 6'5", 231. So working with a quarterback like that is right up his alley, and believe it or not, Curtis Ryuk's stats is crazy. Just check my video out. I'm not going to go into those stats, but he's like an old school quarterback. He has the old school toughness. The defense out there at Indiana, it raises a little bit of questions for me, only because most of the defense is a James Madison defense moving over into the Power 5 in the Big Ten, where it's run heavy, smash mouth football. But that is the only thing that gives me a concern about Indiana moving in on this 2024 season. If you believe anything else, go ahead, jump down in the comments, let me know. But that's just what I have to say about that with Indiana. But other than that, I think the future looks bright. I think Curt Cignetti was a perfect hire for them. And I can't wait to see what they do, because I'm a huge fan of Curtis Ryuk and what Curtis Ryuk got going on. And they still got Kalen Black running the rock, He had 142 carries, 637 yards, 1 touchdown, 27 receptions for 254 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like Elijah Surratt, like I said, I did a video on them, had 82 receptions, 1,191 yards and 8 touchdowns. Curtis Ryuk brought his mans over from the Ohio Bobcats, and Miles Cross. Now, don't let me forget Tyson Lawton. 126 carries, 568 yards, 5 touchdowns, 19 receptions, 174 yards and a touchdown. Like, they quiet as kept, dog. Look, quiet as kept. He's building something over there at Indiana. Watch out for him. And respect them when you play them too, because if not, they will ruin your season. And that is a fact. Good evening. Good evening, everyone out there. Now, Maryland. Now, we like, oh, man, look. Say what you want about Maryland, and my thing on Maryland is they're trending in the right direction. Coaching in the Power 5, especially in the Big Ten, is not an easy task. It just isn't. The Big Ten is one of the most prestigious conferences there is in the NCAA. And to coach there and to be trending in a way of winning, Mike Locksley has them moving in the right direction. They have been progressing, and when they're and they have bowl wins in their last 3 seasons, which is a good thing. So in 2021, they had a record of 7-6, finishing off. 2022, they were 8-5. 2023, again, they were 8-5, and they did have a bowl win over Auburn, in which they defeated them in the Music City Bowl 31-13, which is good. There is going to be a little bit of quarterback battle over there in Maryland, which is only right. And most of y'all know, ACC fans, a lot of ACC fans, MJ Morris, the quarterback from NC State, he transferred over to Maryland. I don't know how he's going to fare in the Big Ten, but his stats, he 63, for 63 completions at 113 passes for 56%, 719 yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, had a passer rating of 120 and a QBR 32. As you know, he didn't play a full season. We already know that. He got the starting job late in the season, but he did show something to look forward to, because he only did that in 4 games against number 17 Duke, Clemson, which you could argue was the best defense in the ACC, the best defense, not the best run defense, okay? Now, against Duke, let me get y'all some of his stats. Now, when he put up against Duke, he was 24 for 40, 193 yards, 60%, no touchdowns. He did throw a pick that game. He got sacked 4 times, and they lost 24-3. Against Marshall, he was 17 for 32, 265 yards, 53% of his passes he completed, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, took 1 sack, but they did beat Marshall 48-41. Against Clemson, he was 11 for 20, 138 yards for 55%, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 sacks, and they did win that game 24-17. They played Miami. We know what happened in that game too. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna respect my guy while he's not here. I'm gonna act like he's here and I'm gonna hold it down for him. I ain't gonna go there with him. You know what I mean? But you get to just what I'm saying. MJ Morris showed some promising things coming up out of NC State, and he was a freshman. You know, it definitely helped having Concepcion catching the passes with his fast little ass, Speedy Gonzalez. You know what I mean? He be out, he be cooking, and I know it. I seen him, but it did help a lot having him. But they do have like the linebacker Joshon Barham is a 4-star, 91 overall, traded over to Michigan. That was a key loss for them. In Maryland. It definitely was. But this is another team that will be turning with some veteran leadership in the Big Ten, which is always a huge step. If the defense step up, Maryland will have a good season. Like I said, the quarterback room is definitely going to have a little bit of controversy there, but that's good for competition. Do I think that MJ Morris will get the job over Cameron Edge? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We'll see. He did, right? He did, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on up out there at Maryland. So let's keep it moving on to the next one, y'all. And Michigan. Now, some people might say, man, Michigan's just boring, dog. I don't really want to talk about Michigan, but we did, though. We talked about Michigan. We talked about Michigan last week, and we're going to continue on talking about them this week because Michigan is building something over there for the future that is about to go crazy. Now, we all know what they've done in the transfer portal. We all know their coaches. And I do want to advise y'all to go ahead and check out my video on Michigan because I broke them down already. And I would pass this to my mans and them and everything, but he's not here, unfortunately, with us tonight. And that's all right. You know what I mean? What up, Darrell? Shad couldn't be here right now, man. You know, I'm holding it down for my mans. He's out handling some family business right now. But we all know they are the team to beat. Michigan is right now the team to beat simply because they won the championship, regardless who's coming in and who's moving around. They are the team to beat in the Big Ten, period. They have the crown right now. They've had it for the past couple of years. Just last year, they were able to be national champions, so we got to give that to Michigan. We broke them down, and I'm going to keep it moving on to the next one. You heard me? Now let's talk about, no disrespect to y'all Michigan Wolverines fans, man. No disrespect. No disrespect. I just want to give love to all teams out there. You know what I'm saying? And we broke them down. I want to get up on Michigan State under Jonathan Smith. Why? With Jonathan, the head coach Jonathan Smith, he transferred over from Oregon State. And he brought Oregon State mentality over there, right? Yes, he did. Because he went and brought his quarterback over. That was a freshman in Aiden, I believe is how you pronounce it, is Cheles. Aiden Cheles is how you pronounce his last name, the quarterback. Nasty. He was supposed to be real good coming up out of college. Really, really great. He was supposed to be. His stats was fantastic. For the couple of games that he did playing, well, I won't say fantastic because he only threw a total of he didn't even throw 20 passes, y'all. Like, let me just be real. But Jack Veland is a beast. That tight end returning, and he's going to Michigan State. Some people even said last year that Jack Veland was the best tight end in all of college football. He was the second best tight end in the Pac-12, without a doubt. And you can question, is there going to be a better tight end in college football? But I would definitely argue with you and say he has to be the best right now, statistically. And if you wanted to go by the eye test, he's that too, because he can block, he can catch, he can run, he can do it all. And Jack Veland is a beast. So let me go ahead and give y'all some of his stats for people who don't know about Jack Billings. He only had 29 receptions, right? For 438 yards, 8 touchdowns. But when you look at that, he had more touchdowns than Bernard, the receiver from Washington. He had more touchdowns than him. He had the most touchdowns of all tight ends in the Pac-12, even over the tight end who was the best by yards, which would play for I'm going blank here. Help me out here, y'all. Arizona. He played for Arizona. He had the most yards. He had the most yards. But Jack Billings had the most touchdowns in the Pac-12 regardless. Period. All right. Now, let me get up into this. Now, as a leader on this team, they're trying to restore glory to a program that has faced a lot of adversity in the past couple of years. He has shown that he can play, but it raises some questions for me like, can Aiden Chalez play ball for a whole 60-minute ball game in the competition level of the Big Ten? Can he do that? That's the only questions I have for Aiden Chalez. Can he withstand the test of time in the Big Ten for 60 whole minutes, going at it, battling in a game? That is a huge question that will only be answered by watching next season, because I can't speculate. I only can go off of what I have in front of me. Now, Jonathan Smith's record as a head coach, he has been trending upwards the last couple of years, but his first, I'll go back to 2018, horrible season. They were 2-10 and 1-8 in the conference. Horrible, man. Horrible. All right. Now, in 2021, turned around 7-6, 5-4 in the conference. 2022, 10-3, 6-3 in the conference. 2023, he was 8-4 and 5-4 in the conference. If I said 23 two times, I didn't mean to. First one should have been 22. You hear me? I ain't perfect, but I'm up out here. Now, this is going to be a solid team that can only get better. They got low expectations and to play football and ruin someone's season. That's all they can do. Michigan State can only trend forward. They cannot do anything but that. That's it. And with returning running back and Nathan Carter, 5'10", 200 pounds from Rochester, you know what I mean? Had 185 carries for 798 yards, 4 touchdowns, 22 receptions, 103 yards. Had 1 fumble in the Maryland game. That's all they can do is move forward. And that kid is a beast. He's from the local area. I'm up in here in this area. I've seen him ball in high school. He's putting in that work up at Michigan State, and I hope that they continue on doing great over there. All right, next one, Minnesota. Let's go with Minnesota. He said, "When's your next live? Monday." Hey, okay. All right, bet. Listen to me, man. This is crazy, right? So they had their quarterback transferred over. I'm super horrible with last names. Do not get me started with last names because I'm horrible with them. But Ethan transferred over to Rutgers. Was all right, not that good, but I'll get into Rutgers later. Right now, I'm talking about other players, okay? Such as under PJ Fleck, they did lose a safety, a tight end, a defensive lineman, and a wide receiver. Those are replaceable. But Minnesota has been on like this weird teeter-totter because the first couple of years PJ Fleck's been there, 2017, they were 5-7, 2-7 in conference. 2018, they were 7-6, 7-2 in the conference. 2020, they were 3-4, as we know, in the COVID year, and he only could play in conference, so they were 3-4 in conference. 2021, they were 9-4, 6-3 in the conference. 2022, 9-4, 5-4 in the conference. Last season, they were 6-7 and 3-6 in conference play, which you would say, where are they going? It doesn't seem like, it seems like they're stuck in some purgatory right now, like Minnesota. They can't get over the hump, you know, and it's tough to do that. But they have had pieces there that can get them over the hump. They have had that. And I will say, he went and grabbed a quarterback, PJ Fleck, from New Hampshire. Yes, New Hampshire. His name is Max Brosmer. Listen, 6'2", 217 pounds. He was 291 out of his 455 passes, 64% completion percentage, 3,459 yards, 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, had a passer rating of 146. You're like, who is this? That's what I said. I said the same thing. I'm like, who is this guy? From New Hampshire? Yes, that's what he did. He grabbed him up, a nice quarterback from New Hampshire. According to 24/7 Sports on 3, all the transfers, guys, he is a 4-star, 90 overall quarterback. Nice, right? That was a good pickup, and it was under the radar, so I like that. Now we get to talk about Darius Taylor, 5'11", 195 pounds, running back, coming back, had 138 carries for 799 yards, 5 touchdowns, had 11 receptions, 92 yards, didn't score. That's okay, though. You know what I mean? Because, look, they got Jordan Newman. They had 2 running backs toting that rock last year up there in Minnesota. He's 5'11", 210 pounds, had 127 carries for 599 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 receptions for 27 yards. So they have some things to play back. Now, Minnesota under PJ Fleck just got this illusion of they're trending backwards in the stacked Big Ten. And you would say that they are like a third-tier team in the Big Ten. That's okay. With their best season coming in 2019. That was 5 years ago. 11-2, 7-2. And they did win in the Outback Bowl over Auburn. It was, 31-24, I believe the score was. Something like that. Help me out if you know different. But the defense gave me some question marks, y'all. With the DB being an elite and tackler on the defense, it ain't new that they are, but when they're a cornerback, that's a little different. When your cornerback is like your lead and tackler, okay? Your nickel corner or whatever you want to, you know what I'm saying? Still, it's a problem. Your linebackers probably should be, but that's the only thing that raises some questions with me from Minnesota. We guys got to wait and see what we're going to do. And that's that. No, I didn't say nothing, Siri. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Nebraska. I did a pretty good breakdown on them. I did a decent breakdown on, yes, he said Wholesome will get the Gophers right. And that's what South Coast Kane said. Listen to me, man. I appreciate you stopping through, Katie Allman. I appreciate y'all coming through and supporting, even though my co-host Shad ain't here. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Get down in the chat, give it to me. Do whatever you need to do to make it interesting for all of us here. If that's what you need to do, you hear me? I appreciate it. Now, look, man, I just think that and he might get them right. He may get them right. He may or he may not. But look, I like Minnesota. I like their colors. That's what it was with me, South Coast. Hey, Kane, that's what it was with me. It always been that with me with them. But Minnesota under Matt Rule, he done an interview, y'all, and break it down to me. I gotta go on a little sequely here. I wrote down, right? So rock with me. Now he just had a great interview with College Game Day podcast, and what's watching, it gave me a temperature check on the Huskers and their upcoming season. I noticed he referred to the transfer portal as free agency, and he spoke highly of the freshman quarterback Dylan Raiola. He did. And just letting the game come to him, this is what he was saying. This is out of his own mouth, his own words. Verbatim, not verbatim, but this is what he said, all right? Now, with a lot of players returning to Nebraska, it's solid. That's a solid team, right? With 16 points deciding their 4 losses for the Huskers, they could easily be sitting at 9-4 with an overall record and 7-2 in conference play. Now, Matt Rule usually gets his programs back on track the second time around. And the temperature check that I got was 250 degrees, slow cook, pause, tender meat, cooking, love it. That's what I got. All right. Now, I did do a breakdown on the Huskers. Now, go check it out in the archives and all that good stuff, right? Because look, I'm not going to keep going into everything, but I did do that. But that's what I got for them. They did go ahead and they picked up the interior offensive lineman from Florida and Mika Mazuka. They picked him up. Let's give him that. Stephon Thompson, the linebacker from Syracuse. He hasn't seen the field a lot. He was a backup player. I believe he should have. Just from what I've heard and what I've seen about Stephon, I live in Erie, PA. That's Syracuse is a couple of hours from me, a couple of hours east from me. I have been up there. I'm a truck driver. So I know a lot of the local kids that play football at high school. It was promising coming up out of high school. Ended up at Syracuse. Now he's out in Nebraska with Matt Rule. I think he'll do good out there from what I know and heard of him. All right. That's true. This is true. I'm not giving y'all no bullshit here. Now, Dante Dow, the running back coming from Oregon, grabbing him up. I believe that will help Nebraska tremendously. They have a lot of returning players, a lot of them. All right. Isaiah Nair, the receiver from Texas, grabbed him up. Definitely could take the top off of defense. That's going to help the Huskers. Jamal Banks, the receiver from Wake Forest, big guy, can block, set the edge. They need that up there with the running game that they already was trying to get cooking last season. Bly Hill, a cornerback from St. Francis, PA. Some people like St. Francis, PA. What the fuck is that? St. Francis, Pennsylvania, right? Small college, not nothing big, but Bly Hill can tackle like a linebacker, but has the speed of a cornerback, if that makes sense to you. Look the guy up. No bullshit. Good tackler, great tackler. And under Matt Rule, seeing how his coaching career has gone at the collegiate level, I would think that the Huskers are on pace of having a better season than what they had last year, because they easily could be 9-4, 7-2 right now. If you could say that for other teams, you definitely could say that for them, because like I said, only 16 points is the difference from the Huskers having a 9-4 overall record or 7-2 in conference play. That's it. So I do think that they'll bounce back this season. I really like the interview that Matt Rule did with College Game Day podcast. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's super dope. And it will give you your own perspective upon how the Huskers will do this season, and you know what I mean, and get a quick temperature check for them. All right, let's move on. Northwestern, and I think I'm going in alphabetical order. I'm trying to anyway. I don't know. I might have missed something. You know what I'm saying? I ain't done that since I was in school for real, so I might have missed something. She said Rule will make Nebraska respectable again. Katie Allman. Yes. Hey, look, I believe that too. He said wholesome got right philosophy as long as they listen to him. Yes, I believe that. Look, Matt Rule definitely has to make respectable in Nebraska. They definitely got to make them respectable. That is a town that's full of prestige and full of football. I can remember when I first got my CDL, and I got my CDL up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Yeah, I had to go all the way up there to a company because they paid for it because I was broken. You know what I mean? I'm young, got my babies. I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? I'm going to go be a truck driver. And there was a company that was giving training as long as you drove for them for a year, whatever. So I took off and I went to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, up there, and I'm like, damn, this is really cornfield country. No disrespect. But I'm up there, and there was just a lot, and that's in Iowa. You know what I'm saying? But there was a lot of Nebraska fans up there. And Iowa and Nebraska, I was like, wow, it was like Ohio State being in Ohio or something, but we were in Iowa and they were still talking about Nebraska football. Some Iowa fans, but it was a lot of Nebraska fans up there too. And I seen for the first time how serious than Huskers corn base really was. You know what I mean? I just wanted to share that real quick. But let me go ahead and keep it moving, man. I don't want to bore you out with my long stories. All right. Now, but let's give it up for them, man. We got to give it up for them. We got to. Simple fact in being, y'all, because look, Northwestern, y'all, man, they are, look, David Braun, let me just keep it real. You want to talk about a 1-11 team that does a whole turnaround, go 8-5 the next season, win the bowl game over Utah. That's what he did at Northwestern. Now, that right there was fantastic to me. Like I'm telling you, so that alone right there deserves. And they have been quiet in the transfer portal, so there's not too much. Even all the research that I was doing on them, like what am I finding on them? What is there to find? That is a good thing to have. They didn't go and get anybody out of the transfer portal. They're not reaching for players. They are getting ballers. They are getting guys that love the game of football literally and want to play on Saturdays. Now, I said this to somebody before, like, why would you keep a 1-11 team? And I told him, I said, because they know the embarrassment of losing that much games in front of their home fans and going back in front of them again, just from my experience of playing semi-professional football. You go out there and you're not going to want to repeat that again in front of those fans, in front of the people you love, even letting your roommate down, your teammates, period. You don't want to let your teammates down. We ain't going 1-11 again. He kept the whole team. And look, they ended up what they did. Shout out to him again, man. Give him another one, man. For real. I don't think there's enough people out there talking about David Braun and what he did for the Northwestern program. Like, a lot of people should have highlighted that a whole lot. There was another coach who done it. I believe it was USF who turned around their 1-11 program to 6-6, and they did go into the bowl. And they did beat Syracuse. They beat the snot out of Syracuse. So it's happened. But let me just go ahead into my my homework. Now, Northwestern has done a lovely job when it comes to turning around a dead program that comes from North Dakota State, coming from North Dakota State. He started off as a defensive coordinator, as safeties coach, to a 1-11 Northwestern program. He chose not to gut the whole team. Instead, he kept all the players and was handed the job, which some would say, or should have been easy to do, to just cut everybody out. But it wasn't for him. Only being named as the interim head coach for the Wildcats, he didn't have the full power to gut the team. So he had to work with the 1-11 team, which makes it even harder and that much more to say that David Braun, the truth, all right? Like, he is. Like, let me tell you, he just is. All right? Now, earning the full-time position in week 12, all right, he lost 10 players to the transfer portal that don't seem to bother this program at all because they haven't chased anybody. He has a unique perspective about approaching the portal, but it does raise some questions to me on offense. Because Cam Porter, but they do have Cam Porter, the running back, 5'10", 222. He should be returning. He should be returning. He had 166 carries for 651 yards, 4 touchdowns, 21 receptions, 121 yards, and a touchdown. He had no fumbles, which is great. But it just seems to be a next man up type of mentality at Northwestern in the way that he's coaching. Now, finishing the season strong against Utah is a great upside for the Wildcats. And if they continue to move in the right direction and trend this way, the Wildcats could be a great, prestigious program in the Big Ten. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was so sweet. Thank you. I think I did that all right. Anyway, this is crazy right here, right? This one is crazy, man. I'm a little excited to talk about the Buckeyes, and I really, really wish that my guy was here with me kicking it, man. Cause this is crazy, man. This is crazy. Listen, oh, he's here. No, he's here with me, man. He here. You here with me, dog? Can you hear me, dog? Hey, dog.
What's up?
What?
What's up?
Can you hear me, dog?
Yeah, I can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, Shad up in the building, y'all. He in the building. He in the building. My guy, my guy, my guy. South Coast Kane said, "My Shad, my man." He's screaming it. He's screaming it. We got Kathy Almond in the building. South Coast Kane in the building. We had a few people up in the building, my man. We got let me let you know who everybody that's here. If you can't see it, Mr. Overdose 101 came through to show you some love. QB came through to show you some love. Darrell Drakeford came through, showed us some love. Cuban Kane, I said Cuban Kane, you know what I'm saying? South Coast Kane, they all up in here showing us some love, man. They came and kicked it with us, bro. I've been on the run through, man. I'm going in alphabetical order, Shad. And
Okay, okay.
I just got finished talking about Northwestern. And I started in alphabetical order from Illinois, and I just got finished off Northwestern and talking about how great of a season it was for them and the head coach David Braun, you know, being a defensive coordinator, starting off as a defensive coordinator, safeties coach up at North Dakota State, and then coming over to Northwestern and completely turning around a 1-11 program. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so do you like would you want to pick up from here, man?
Oh, I'm following your lead, bro. I'm locked in with you. I'm trying to get all this little stuff back in the house. So
Listen,
just
listen,
rock out.
listen,
I'll
bro. You
insert
just
when I
is,
need to.
hey man. I told the people earlier, man. I told them, man, how important you was and how much I value your friendship and how much I value you for your constructive criticism and everything. You know what I'm saying? And helping me become a better content creator out here in these YouTube streets and whatnot, man. And but nah, this is our show, man. But I was holding it down for you. I think I did a decent job, man. You know, they'll let you know. They'll let you know if I did or I didn't, bro. Trust me, bro. They'll do it. They'll do it. But right now, man, we moving on to Ohio State, man. And you want me to keep going on here, man? You know what I'm saying? I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead and
yeah. Like
rock
I said,
out.
I ain't got to a
Okay.
stopping point yet. So yeah, yeah, just rock out. Yeah.
I got you, bro. I got you. Got you, my guy. Got you. All right. So when we talking about Ohio State, all right. Thank you. Hey, thank you, South Coast Kane. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate y'all too, man. Thank you. All right. Ohio State. She said, "I hate those suck eyes." But look, I'm telling you, it's like they just win, right? Anyway, all right. Under the head coach of Ryan Day, Ohio State is used to just being the Big Ten, the Big Ten bullies. That's what they are, right? Having it all to themselves, being stingy, and they don't want to learn how to share with others. And you could tell that by the move that they just did, grabbing the offensive coordinator and Chip Kelly for the Buckeyes. The duo that combines a total years of coaching of 35 years. Okay, now as y'all all know, Ryan Day was a quarterback coach in Philadelphia for Chip Kelly. We know this. So there ain't no doubt about their chemistry, right? So they did nab up the quarterback from Alabama, Julian Sayin, safety Caleb Downs from Alabama, the interior offensive lineman Seth McLaughlin from Alabama, quarterback Will Howard from Kansas, the tight end from Ohio. He was one of Curtis Ryuk's like targets about there. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm horrible with it. Will Karamick, I believe it is. All right. And they did grab up running back Quashawn Junkins from Ole Miss. So when they didn't miss a beat on replacing the quarterback and the running back position, losing Chip to Kentucky, I don't think that hurt them. Losing Kyle McCord to Syracuse, I don't think that hurt them. Cade Stover, however, is some big shoes to fill for the tight end coming in from the Ohio Bobcats. Now, and also the veteran leadership that Julian Fleming was able to provide, even though he did not step up on the stat sheet as a lot of people would say or do, but he did have a chemistry and knew how to lead that receiver room like no other. And I think that they'll miss that with Julian Fleming. But that's the only thing I can say about that. Now, like we all like to do here, and like my Shad loves to do this. Shad loves to compare quarterbacks. Shad will say to me, quick, like, bro, they let McCord go up to Syracuse and then they go grab somebody like Howard. So let's compare Howard and let's compare McCord. Let's talk stats. Yeah, you'll rock with that.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right. So we got McCord. He's 6'3", 215 pounds. He had 229 completions out of his 348 attempts, 66%. He threw for 3,170 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, had a passer rating of 161, and a QBR of 84. All right. Now, Will Howard, 6'5", 242 pounds, completed 219 of his 357 passes for 61%. He threw for 2,643 yards. He had 24 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, had a passer rating of 140, and a QBR of 75. So now, just giving about the stats that I just gave to you and that I just read to you, we'll have some thinking like, was McCord better? Was McCord better? Should they have let McCord go? What do you think, bro? Like just from what the stats that I just read to you, what do you think?
I don't think they got an upgrade with Will Howard, to be honest. And based on some of the outlets that I've listened to, the guy that actually won the quarterback competition was Devin Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think really they may have got Will Howard for optics, and I think they may actually probably roll with Devin Brown.
Right. So you think they might roll with Devin Brown? See, I see. Hey, because
That's
that's what
what.
I'm saying. I don't think they
That's
got to upgrade neither, Shed. That was just me, bro. I don't think so. I mean, well, you know what I mean? With statistically, once they say we say numbers don't lie, right? I mean, let's just be honest.
yeah. I mean, you gotta look at it from this perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know some
Mm-hmm.
people look at it and say, one man's trash is another man's treasure, but they weren't too keen. They weren't just jumping up and down to keep Will Howard at Kansas State. They feel like
Mm-hmm.
they have their better quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing as that I had Will Howard on my fantasy team, I saw
Mm-hmm.
when Will Howard went out,
Mm-hmm.
his backup came in and performed marvelously. So it's
Right.
something to keep your eye on.
Yeah. Hey, bro. Look. Hey, look, bro. Nah. Let me drop a bomb for you. And I got a new one for you. Hey. So look, like they really like. I don't think that they got a upgrade, right? See, the thing was with a lot of these. See, look, and that's it right there. She said it too, Katie Allman. I'm gonna put you a comment up on the screen because a lot of Ohio State fans got mad when they went to go play Penn State and Michigan when Cal McCord didn't show up and have a 300-yard game against them. Not saying those were the toughest defenses in the Big Ten last year, without a doubt. Michigan's defense was just unreal. It was overwhelming to every college team. I strongly say that, and I mark my words, y'all, and I believe this one wholeheartedly. Michigan's defense last year would have beat any college team out there. Period. Nobody could have beat Michigan's defense last year. I said that in the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Go through my archives, watch them. If you catch me capping, pull it up. But you won't find it because I said that all last year. They're different, and can't nobody beat them. They just couldn't, and that's what happened. And Kathy Allman, I had to put that up because she said the Suckeyes or the undisputed national whiner champions. They still crowd about to having that big boy hit on Mr. JR. Now look, on MHJR. Now look, and I thought that was funny, so I had to put that up there. I thought that was super funny. Now, and that's exactly what they did. They just cried and whined about, oh, he's not doing this. I'm like, look, he's playing Michigan. Y'all playing Michigan. Y'all not playing Ohio Bobcats. Y'all not playing the Toledo Rockets. Y'all not playing the Youngstown State. Y'all playing Michigan. Like, face it. Like, you know what I mean? He's not going to look like that. No quarterback did versus Michigan last year. I don't care who it was. But now, again, another comparison. People were saying, oh, they're going to mistrain him. We're going to mistrain him. Like, no, you're not going to mistrain him. How? Another comparison that you like to do. Now, this by far, this is just easy from the eye test, to be honest, right? Train him 5'11", 233 pounds, 85 carries, 373 yards. He averaged 4 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. He had 9 receptions for 53 yards. Okay? Junkins had the running back they just got from Ole Miss, 5'10", 210 pounds, 271 carries, 1,158 yards, averages 4 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns, 22 receptions, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It's clear to say that they definitely got to upgrade at running back, right? Right. And that's where, Shad, I believe the difference happens, because Howard is used to having a strong running game to play off of that. I think that will help him in looking better up at Ohio if he gets the starting job, because the 1-2 punch that they probably will have up there with Henderson and Junkins running the rock, they'll be successful doing that. So Will Howard won't be called upon 357 times to pass the ball. I think we'll be lucky to see him pass it 300 times. All right. You got anything to say in closing out on this one, bro?
No, I agree. I agree. I think it's kind of reminiscent of some of those Oregon teams going back to like LaMichael James and DeAnthony Thomas, how Oregon has such a unique and explosive running game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be something that they do. You sprinkle in what Ryan Day does with the quarterback, and Ohio State on paper right now looks like like they could be the best team in the country
right now, right?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah,
yeah. Especially with that hire with Chip Kelly and going to offensive coordinator, that just made them like, wow. I think that threw them over the top. I think that was cheat code right there.
Most definitely.
We go keep it moving on the next one, y'all. We on Oregon now. Oregon. Now we on the Ducks. We are on the Ducks. I must say, starting off with the Ducks, y'all, I must say the move to the Big Ten will show if Oregon is really ready to play smash mouth football. Now, they got all the pieces they need to compete in the Big Ten. But the only thing that gives me questions and concerns, Wayne Smith coming in the building, checking in, showing love. You know what I mean? It's all good, Wayne. Shad just came up in here. You ain't really missed too much, man. But the Oregon, right? When they went to go play physical teams in the Pac-12 last year, and I would say Arizona State's their record showed they suck, but they were a physical football team. I must say that they were physical. They played physical and they played hard. They didn't quit, even though their record they sucked. It is what it is. Arizona State was a physical Pac-12 team. Washington was definitely, without a doubt, the most physical Pac-12 football team, and that's why they made it up there. They were physical. Oregon State was a physical Pac-12 football team. And Oregon, even though they ran through a lot of those teams, They were getting when they got smacked in the mouth early. It just seemed like they would like if those teams would have kept their foot on Oregon's neck, they probably would have beat Oregon, even if the score says otherwise. In the beginning of those games, they taking it to Oregon and they get tired out. Oregon's depth always takes over, and them being able to switch them trenches in and out helped so much. And that's the same thing for Michigan, but that helped Oregon a lot. But I don't know if that's going to be able to continue and carry on over into a strong Big Ten, man, even against some of the mid-tier teams in the Big Ten. I don't know, man, but look, we'll see. They did go grab a lot of talent. I'm not taking that from Oregon. I'm not. All right. She said, Oregon is going to be Ryan's Day next nightmare. Lanning will build an SEC-style team at OU or Oregon. All right. Like, I got you. Like, and that's what he's trying to do. That's what he's trying to do. And I give you that. He made some moves to do that. And quarterback, grabbing up cornerback Jabbar Muhammad from Washington. All right. 21 solo tackles, 5 assists. All right. You know what I mean? He don't got to get much, but he had 2 sacks, 3 interceptions. And Jabbar Muhammad, we seen him ball. Very physical guy. Likes to hit it around. Going to go grab Evan Stewart, the receiver from Texas A&M, 6 foot, 175. He had 38 receptions for 514 yards, 4 touchdowns. I agree. Same thing with Jamar Cadwell, defensive lineman from Houston. That was a significant grab to me on the defensive line. He knew he needed that. Now, 27 tackles. No, I'm sorry. 23 solo tackles, 5 assists, 6.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble for the kid. Caldwell, the defensive lineman from Houston, they added him. All right. We're not going to forget about Dante Moore, the quarterback. I mentioned that because they went and grabbed him up. He completed 114 of his 213 passes for 53%, threw for 1,610 yards, 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. All right. Dylan Gabriel. Y'all want his stats? He completed 266 of his passes, of his 384 passes, for 69%, threw for 3,660 yards, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. QB rating 87 and a pass rating of 172. Now, all right, that I gave y'all some of the stats because of that comment that she just threw up there, that Katie Armour just threw up. He is trying to do exactly that, build an SEC type of style of offense, a team up there in the Big Ten. And he's definitely going to need to do that because, like I said, last year in the Pac-12, when they played physical teams early on, they didn't get going after that fast. But I want to see how it translates over to the Big Ten. I believe that Dan Lanning will get it done. I like that team. That team is fire. Dylan Gabriel, a huge fan of what he's done over there at Oklahoma University and how he put it together and how he balled out. Matthew Beffert, the offensive lineman that didn't go to Colorado, that went over to Oregon. I thought that he was one of the better offensive linemen on that Indiana Hoosier offensive line. If you ask me, he carried a lot of offensive linemen over there. They definitely need what they got. Anything to add up on this, bro? Because I know you about to go ahead and take it away.
Hey, you know I love Oregon. I love them. I love everything about what they're doing over there. They will be my 3rd team this year behind, obviously, Miami and Syracuse. I believe that even though I feel like on paper, Ohio State is the most talented team in the country, I think what Dan Lanning has been able to do at Oregon, I think has been phenomenal. I think it's kind of been a jump similar to what Kirby Smart did when he took over from Mark Richt. And they have not missed a beat. Evan Stewart, you read off his statistics. Having drafted Evan Stewart for my fantasy team, I know he dealt with some injuries. I know it was some injury concerns even when he was in the portal. But when he's on,
he go
one of the most
crazy.
dynamic receivers in the country.
Yeah.
So with their number 1 guy and Troy Franklin going to the draft this particular year, they have a nice returner, I believe in Tez Johnson, I believe is his name. I think he and Evan Stewart could very well form from a duo standpoint a very potent duo of receivers, and that's saying a lot when we know what Ohio State has. But just kind of looking at the notes, they have I believe 69, which is crazy.
Mm.
Returning production from a team when you look at the guys that they lost, and then they're returning that much of their production, and that's not even including the transfers.
Mm.
So this is the prime, a prime candidate when someone says they don't rebuild, they reload. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the reload year for Oregon. I don't think Dylan Gabriel is a drop off from what Bo Nix was,
Mm-hmm.
and them getting Dante Moore that secures them a good quarterback at least for the next 2 years after that. So you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about Dan Lanning is in a position to start off his first time head coaching career with great quarterback play for at least 6 years. So I absolutely love Oregon, and they're my favorite to win the Big Ten.
Woo! Shots. My guy, my guy, my guy. Fantastic, man. Look, I'm gonna leave it right there, man. I ain't gonna say no more because I was long winded in the whole soliloquy. I went through the first place with Oregon, so I'm gonna leave it right there. But I had to throw some adversity on there. I had to throw something up there on Oregon, make it a little bit of interesting, right? I had to say something about them. I just can't. I just can't. I just you know what I'm saying. I just can't get up on here and just skate well because I already know what Oregon gonna do. I mean,
Hey,
hey, look, they in that pipeline now up here with the in the Big Ten pipeline, in the high schools in this area, the nationally ranked high schools in this area. So a lot of kids, and that my son, he's in high school, he played for a nice high school and all that. All these kids talk about, oh, we could go to Oregon now, we can go to USC. They ain't even thinking about Michigan and Ohio State. So uh, that's a problem I think they're gonna have. But we'll talk about that another time. You hear me? Talk about that
okay.
another time. Penn State, Penn State, Penn State, man. Look. I really like what James Franklin is doing over there at Penn State. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like them to be a top 10 team in the Big Ten, man. They have a stable coaching staff, number one. They have a quarterback returning that is still has a couple of years and a COVID year, if you want to add that in. You know what I'm saying? Um, And a quick question, bro. Quick question before I go on, bro. How the hell is this COVID thing working, bro? I'm getting a whole bunch of different answers when I research, bro. Like I'm getting like the COVID year only works for 5. A player only gets 4 years, and then the COVID year, if they were brought in, what 2020 or before 2020, before
Yeah,
2020,
yeah,
like
yeah.
so. It's weird though because then I'm seeing guys playing for what having 5 years and 6 years in, bro. Like it's crazy the way
7.
that works. Yeah, it's 7, right?
Yeah,
Like so
7.
I guess when they want to go to the draft, they go to the draft. I guess we'll just say that. I don't know how this works, but it makes it harder though because when you want to do stats and everything, and you looking at players that you know what I mean, they're a senior and they're not in the draft, you got to say they're playing because they have that COVID year. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird, but I
Yeah,
do like what they're building over here at Penn State. Nonetheless, I like the way that James Franklin's running that program. That program already is prestige. Look, I know what happened back then. We ain't talking about that, but Drew, yeah, you know what I'm saying. They like the Hershey highways over there. Now, you know what I mean. But anyway, we lead out of there. Drew Allar, that guy, that kid, y'all, I really believe in this kid, man. And I like the way he ball, man. He can move. He's 6'5", 243 pounds. He can move around. He had 233 completions, 389 passes, completed 60% of his passes, threw for 2,631 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, had a passer rating of 137, y'all, and he had a quarterback rating of 74 only in his sophomore year in the Big Ten. Oh my God, he's going to put in the work. He just got a veteran receiver and Julian Fleming coming over from Ohio State. And like I said, I think Fleming, I just like his overall attitude, the way that he approaches the game, the way that he prepares for the game, the way that he brings the locker room together. I've seen that and how he talks to his guys. Now taking that over to a high Penn State and Drew Allard being a target for him, I think they about to put in some major work. They are losing some guys to the draft, but believe me, I know for a fact they got guys to replace that. They have the guys to replace that, and some some guys that they went and snatched up out of the portal that are notable to me on that defense, and what they definitely needed was a cornerback, right? And they went and grabbed up AJ Harris from Georgia. That is crazy. Don't let me forget. A lot of people sleep on the edge. Come, Jordan Mayer coming from Wisconsin. Wisconsin, they gets after them edges and linebackers for some reason. Wisconsin, that name attached to edge and the linebacker, I like it, and I like Jordan Mayer. Now he only got him at an 86 overall, 3 stars, but I like that pick for Penn State and what they got going on. And definitely, let me mention one more time, AJ Harris at cornerback is going to help take that defense over the top. But the guys who's going to the draft and who they have returning is dangerous nonetheless for the Nittany Lions. And I think that, look, if you got Oregon number 1, and because I mean they got a lot of people going that can go into the draft. All right, let's just be real. Penn State does, but if you got Oregon being the number 1, I definitely got Penn State sitting at 3. They're definitely a top tier Big Ten team. All right, definitely that. But I got them sitting third in the Big Ten. Big Ten right now, third place, maybe more. If they surprise us, you got anything to add on to that, bro?
Yeah, just like I said, just playing catch up right now. Just looking at it, they signed a great, good recruiting class, top 15 class, which is that's good. That's
Mm-hmm.
top tier talent. Looking at the transfer portal class, like you stated, picking up a guy like AJ Harris. I think Drew Aller, when you look at the uncertainty at a lot of
Mm-hmm.
schools in the Big Ten from a quarterback perspective, I think it's time for Drew Aller to take the next step. Have a good running game. Um, like I said, picking up a guy like a Julian Fleming may have not lived up to the expectations at Ohio State, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not a knock on him. Um, you said third.
Yeah, I say third.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And third is not bad
Nah.
because, like you say, your roster does not look like Ohio State. Your roster does not look like Oregon. But you have the third best roster in the big. Well, I'm not even gonna say you have the third best roster in the Big Ten because obviously you got USC coming over. But yes, I agree. I agree with that. When you look at the returning production for them,
Mm-hmm.
they have 70% production returning. 74% of that is on the offensive side of the ball alone. So that's major. 66% of that is returning on the defensive side of the ball. And one thing about Penn State, they've had top 10 defenses the past 4 to 5 years. Probably just a hair behind Michigan. If we're looking at the overall general scope of of this whole thing, right
Mm-hmm.
behind Michigan in terms of defense over the last couple of years in the Big Ten.
You can
And
argue. You can argue that. I
yeah,
agree. You can
yeah,
definitely argue which defense was better. Like if somebody came up with some valid points about Penn State and valid points about Michigan, you can argue which one was the best last year. I agree, bro.
yeah. So, but right, this particular year though, I think it's put up or shut up for James Franklin. I think the college football is in such a weird space right now to where you're seeing guys get canned who you're winning ball games. We saw
Mhm.
Mark Richt get canned. You're winning ball games. So it can happen. I know the first thing someone from a person that's looking at it say, well, who are you who are you gonna replace James Franklin with if you do move in that particular direction? I don't know. I
Right.
don't work for Penn State, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if they feel like they could pull the plug on James Franklin, obviously, I feel like they may have someone lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Because in reality, Penn State is they're right there. They just can't get over the hump, and it's a lot of instances in which you do have coaches who just they can't get over the hump. So, but don't want to belabor that point too much.
Right. Right. I got you, bro. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you with that one. I got you, bro. Like that. That's a fact. That's true. I like that. So so we moving on to the next one, and I think I'm going to alphabetical order. All right. Purdue. Purdue. Like, all right, people like you got everybody. Yeah, man. We got a Big Ten breakdown, man. What they got 16 teams. So not only
Yeah,
did we have 16 teams to do, but we had a bigger show that we'll probably give to y'all later intact. And y'all know how we don't really play with this. We actually do work. You know what I mean? Like, but look, all right, so all right, let me moving on. Okay, so Purdue, right? They're number one team in basketball, number one seed in basketball, heading into the tournament at 22-2. Now, what they want to do is translate that over and recreate that into football. They grabbed 4 Georgia players out of the transfer portal, hoping to do that. I believe that. CJ Smith, the wide receiver from Georgia, Dylan Morizette, I'm not receiver from Georgia, Nyland Green, the 4-star cornerback from Georgia, and CJ Madden, the edge from Georgia. They have a whole host of guys. Okay, Ryan Walters, as his first time head coach at a P5, said I think he's doing a fair job, y'all. It was his very first year coaching period, being a head coach at a P5 in the Big Ten at Purdue. Now they have some work to do if they want to compete in the Big Ten, but they do got Devin Mockabee returning to the churning and earning, the running back that was 7th in the Big Ten from Boonville, Indiana, 6', 200-pound guy, had 172 carries for 807 yards, 6 touchdowns. He averaged 5 yards a carry, 19 receptions, 180 yards, 1 touchdown. So he can't run the rock, and they are building. They're a young team. It's easy to sit there and say that they're a young team with a young head coach, and they still have bumps and bruises to learn. They were 4-8 last year. They finished 3-6 in the conference. Purdue, like I said, they got a culture right now for basketball. They're trying to translate that over. So it's easy to say that. Now, the quarterback, Hudson Card, want to talk about him. 6'2", 210 pounds. He had completed 215 of his 365 passes, 59%, 2,387 yards, 15 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, passer rating 123, QBR 52, took 21 sacks. There's some things to work on, like I said, with a lot of these players, y'all. And they did grab a lot more help out of the portal too. There was Kendrick Breedlove, the cornerback that went to Colorado last year. A lot of people were high on him. He said he could fly around. I've seen film on him flying around at practice, so forth and so on. They did grab a good offensive lineman from Ball State, and Corey Stewart, I believe his name is. Jamarcus Dinkins, the defensive lineman from Kentucky, and they grabbed the edge from Franklin College. And I think that's harder to do as an edge and a trench guy coming from a Division II program to the Power 5. That's just me, in my opinion, though. I think skill position and receivers are more likely to translate over to the Power 5 from a Division II, but that's just me and how I feel about that. All right. But look, I like what they're doing over there, starting to go in the right direction. He's only been there for 1 year. The year before that, same difference. This program is still on the bottom half of the tier to me. I don't think that they're going to come in the Big Ten and win many games, but I do like the way that this team is building, and that's that and moving and trying to say something positive and ending this. I do like the way that this young team and this young head coach is attacking this and moving forward and taking it day by day. Anything to add on this, bro?
Yeah, just kind of again, kind of looking at the recruiting class. I believe they had a top 30. I believe it was
Mm-hmm.
32 ranked recruiting class this particular year. That's big time. Looking at the transfers that they brought in, they addressed the trenches. They went and got some offensive tackle. They got some internal interior
Mm-hmm.
offensive linemen, got some edge rushers, some guys with some size. Obviously, that you made mention of the guys that they went and got from a team like Georgia. And I know that was something that we've spoken about. Well, we were going to talk about like the
Uh-huh.
expansion of the playoffs, and
Right.
one of the points that I was going to make on that was with the way that the playoffs are now, and with the
Mm-hmm.
transfer portal, you're seeing guys like from the University of Georgia going to a school like a Purdue, and we're
Mm-hmm.
not talking about just the guys that that maybe they're 3 stars or whatever. We're talking about guys that were highly regarded that may have just gotten swallowed up by the Georgia or the Alabama or the LSU type of system, but they can come to a place like a Purdue, start fresh, and maybe make a name for themselves. So it's going to be interesting to see. Purdue is what 2 years? Well, 2 years removed. Well, no, a year removed from actually winning their side of the division in the Big Ten.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how things formulate moving forward. But they're starting off, a pretty good spot right now. Like I said, had a top 30 recruiting class. So if the recruiting continues to uptick and they're able to get, guys from the portal from other schools and things like that, I think they could have a nice particular program. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I like that. I like them yeah, too. He said, Wayne Smith says, honestly, bro, I see no other team in our conference besides OSU and Michigan. Said no way. Like, oh well, we was gonna talk about the expansion of the college football playoff, and I think we can get into that a little bit. But I would say that the Big Ten is a gauntlet of smash mouth football. If you think for one moment that even a low tier team from the Big Ten will not ruin your season, you have to respect every opponent that you play in the Big Ten, and especially now with the ads of UCLA, Washington, USC, and Oregon coming over there. You have to respect every team in the Big Ten. You just do. And I mean, you could say that for a lot of people, but nah, really, the Big Ten for real, they play smash mouth ball over there, and for sure, anytime you playing against those schools, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, you seeing them on a year or every other year, you got something to build on, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I would have to disagree with that, but everybody that I like the way that your opinion was, but yeah, the Big Ten ain't nothing to play with though. It's just nothing to play with. It's like that SEC, you know what I'm saying? Of the North, you could say easily. All right, but we're gonna keep it moving on, man. On to the next one, man. Let's go here with this one.
Oh man.
Do you want to even talk about them, dog? I mean, I'm just saying.
Hey,
The
what they do?
the
Hey, what they
pinstripe.
do? Hey, what they do in church? They just throw that one finger up. Hey, golly, man.
He said next. Rutgers. Y'all don't want to talk about Rutgers, dog. Y'all want me to next them, dog. Look, man. All right.
Nah.
Look,
We gotta
look,
give them
look,
their
look,
love.
look, man.
They need their love. Yeah.
Look, man. Every team, man. Look, OSU on paper. That was a good question. I must answer that. We got a question there from the chat saying from Wayne Smith. He says, "I agree. You respect everyone, but who are you going to pick to beat OSU on paper right now in the Big Ten? On paper in the Big Ten." Like on paper, that's hard to say on paper, right? Because on paper, like we just said they got like the best team, but I guess you could say Oregon right now.
I'll go
Um,
Oregon.
Oregon, Penn State. I would argue Penn State, roughly Penn State, Michigan. Um, this might. I mean, but you never know in the Big Ten though. See, that's what I'm saying. Because you can go because honestly, Ohio State can go and play Northwestern and lose in the Big Ten if they don't go into respecting them, because the Big Ten is tough ball, bro. Like they gotta play every week. Like a lot of people said that same thing. Like, and that's the truth, Katie. Almond games aren't played on paper, but the things are like when you. A lot of people said that same thing last year. Michigan didn't play nobody. Michigan didn't play nobody, and they. You can argue. Some people say they scored a garbage time touchdown versus Washington. That's what everybody say. They didn't play nobody, but they did because they ran through the Big Ten, and they proved that the Big Ten was serious when they won the national champ, and they ran through Washington the way they did. They dominated that game. So the Big Ten is definitely good, man. And I advise you to watch more Big Ten football. Respect that division. You know what I'm saying? Because really watch it. It's good ball, man. Even the sorry teams. Moving on. All right. Rutgers. Greg Schiano, man. Greg Schiano. Now he spent time. We know. Look, and everybody thought that he was going to do good, Shaq, because he spent time with Tampa Bay, Ohio State, New England. You know what I'm saying? They lost 13 players to the portal, bro. You know, so the previous 3 years have been rough for the Scarlet Knights fans, and that's why 76 bowl win game, honestly, is a plus for them. That's a plus for if you're a Scarlet Knight fan. I'm just saying it is. Now, hoping to improve from last year, they got a veteran quarterback from Minnesota, and Ethan, I cannot pronounce the last name, Kalimaeus. Ethan Kalimaeus. I don't know how to do it. It sounds like it make me almost want to say Kamehameha, like how Gohan and them say. You know, like, I'm just saying, bro. It's just one of them names that make me want to say that Ethan Kame. You know, but anyhow, 6'4", 210 pounds from Indiana. He completed 156 of his 294 passes for 53%. He threw for 1,838 yards, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, had a passer rating of 115 and a quarterback rating of 56. Okay, the guy he's not the creme de la creme pick over there, right? Now, they tried to give him some help and trying to improve the offense over there and getting Draymare Miller, the 4-star receiver from Monmouth. He's a 90 overall and all that. They got his little brother, Dino, or his brother, Dino. I'm not going to try to Kamehameha. No. The receiver, his little brother is a receiver from Minnesota that they went and grabbed up, 6'2", 200-pound guy. All right. So they're trying. I guess they're trying over there at Rutgers. I mean, I'm trying to break down Rutgers, and you got to give me some credit for that because I'm just not leaving them hanging out to the dry. They went and got Kyle, the running back. He was a brute. He did lead the Big Ten in rushing. I will say that. 242 carries, 4,262 yards, 5 touchdowns. He averaged 5 yards per carry. He had 8 touchdowns, 8 receptions, 78 yards, no touchdowns. The dude's 5'9", 210 pounds. Now, the question marks for me on this one, bro, is at linebackers because or is Deion Jennings and Muhammad Tor moving on because they both had their fifth year COVID year. You know what I mean? And they are significant because one was like number 2 or number 1 leading, and the linebackers are 9th and 10th in the Big Ten. Let's just say that. Deion Jennings having 94 total tackles and Muhammad Tor having 92 total tackles. That is where the question marks are for me. Are they going to be able to replace those guys? And some at quarterback because I don't know what Ethan is going to do at a quarterback. Now you can go ahead and you can take it from here, brother.
Hey man, we shouldn't even. Hey, why are you doing this to me, dog? I thought we were better than that. I thought we were better than this. I thought we were better than this, dog.
You think? Look, man. Just say.
They might pull my cane card after this, man.
Man, we ain't gonna. Nah, man, we ain't gonna do you like, man. Look, We finished with the Rutgers, bro. I ain't gonna
Hey,
make my dog do that. I ain't gonna make
hey,
my dog do that, man.
but you know, so
Just keep it short and sweet, man.
no, just looking at it, they have a lot of returning production. 69% on offense, 79% on defense. They had a very, very good defense in the Big Ten as well. Probably looking at it overall, top five defense in the Big Ten was a top 25 defense in the entire country. So I think that unit actually could be better this particular year. I with them being an older team, with Greg Schiano being there, I think
Mm-hmm.
this is one of those prime examples of a team like what you said. They could wreck your season.
Mm-hmm.
Ended was able to beat us at the end of the season, get that seventh win. So Rutgers is a team going into next year that could threaten for 8, maybe even 9 wins when you look at the overall landscape of what's going on right now. I think
Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about maybe from the bottom tier teams like a
That's
Purdue, like a Northwestern, some of those particular teams, I think Rutgers is probably the best of them going
mm,
into next year. Not
okay.
just from an overall perspective, but just from a returning production standpoint. I think Rutgers could be on the cusp of an 8, maybe even a 9 win season
Mm.
next year, just based on the amount of production that they have returning. And like I said, I saw up close and personal firsthand. It's a pretty good defense.
All
So
right. Yeah, that's the only question marks I got for them, bro. Like that was the only question marks I had was that because, like I said, we don't know. I don't know if they're going to be returning because of the the whole COVID year situation. They got 5 years under their belt technically right now, but I don't see them in any of the draft boards or eligible for the draft right now. So that was my. She says Rutgers beat us doing nothing but playing smash.
that's how
Smash.
Wisconsin used to beat us all the time.
So I mean, look, man, that's what I'm saying, man. That's all I was. That's why I was trying to explain to my guy over there in the chat that what I'm saying when you go play the Big Ten teams like Wayne Smith, you gotta respect them guys, man. Like, cause what I'm saying, they ball, they do, they play ball, they do, man. UCLA, man, moving over, man. So Deshaun Foster, it was pretty much an in-house hire for it was pretty much a in-house hire for UCLA, and I like it, right? Because he was there before in 2018, right? The running back coach for Chip Kelly. If some didn't know, all right. Now we know Carson Still's going into the draft, but they still got TJ Hart, 6'2", 215. And it just made it harder for teams to slow UCLA down in the Big Ten. TJ Hart's last year's stats was 156 carries for 827 yards. He averaged 5 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns, had 19 receptions for 142 yards, and he had a touchdown. They lost a few key pieces in the portal, but I'm hoping that they'll be able to replace, like, for instance, Kamari Ramsey, the safety from USC, in my eyes. The tight end, Carson Ryan, went to Utah. Dante Moore to Oregon. The interior offensive lineman, Jake Wiley, they lost him to Houston. But this is a rebuild year with so many players that's draft eligible. But he did grab some notable people out of the portal, such as Rico Flores from Notre Dame, Ramon Henderson from Notre Dame, Joseph Vaughn, the linebacker from Yale, believe it or not, yes, from Yale, Michael Cromartie, the offensive tackle from Notre Dame, Jacob Abusek, yes, the edge from Navy. Anytime you can get you a Navy guy, they're in shape. I don't know if you've seen how they train, but when you can get a guy from Army and Navy, they're in shape. They gonna ball for you. So that's why he's on my list for a notable transfer in. And they did grab up an edge from Miami, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about him. Collins, I cannot pronounce. See, I hate last names.
Hansen
Collins.
Pong.
Archon
Hansen Pong.
Okay,
Yes.
Archon Pong from Miami. They
Yes.
grabbed the edge from Miami. Um, but if this team's toughness can be relied on in the Big Ten and they can replicate what I seen them doing in Pac-12, there's no doubt in my mind that UCLA will be able to withstand the test of time in the Big Ten. Anything to add on that, bro?
Yeah, I agree. I think, just kind of again going through the research, UCLA has been a team that's been able to get a handful of guys that maybe they shouldn't get in terms of recruiting, right?
Mm.
Having an in-house hire, former alum, so it's going to mean a lot more to him. I think they are probably going to struggle a little bit this upcoming season, but with him getting hired so late in the cycle, it hurt him
Mm.
because maybe there were some guys that entered the portal that he
Hold
may
up,
have
hold up.
wanted.
Hey, bro, say that again. You said by him getting hired late. What was it? It was going
Yeah,
what him?
it hurts them from
Hey,
from a transfer perspective. It hurts them. But I think after the spring practices is over, I think UCLA will be a team to kind of look at as maybe a destination for players.
mhm.
Um, like I said, I mean, not that good of a recruiting class this particular year, obviously with Chip Kelly, but just kind of going back through it, they've been able to recruit in that top 25, top 30 range, and so they can kind of hit on some transfers. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think they will be able to make the nice transition over to the Big Ten, but I do think it's going to take some time for them to actually maybe make a mark, just due to just how just how late in the cycle this hire was, and
Mhm.
how he's going to have to try to get some coaches and things like that. So I think so, but I think UCLA probably be a solid team in the next 2 to 3 years, though.
Good. Great point. Great way to look at that. Well said. Um, so where do you see right now? I mean, we've been kind of just putting teams in tiers, and we're just speculating like a lot of people out here right now, just by looking at and doing our research and gathering it, and where would you put them at? Tier 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the Big Ten right now?
I would have to put them at tier three,
Okay.
simply because and a fringe maybe tier two team, and that's just strictly because of the area that they're in. Like I
Hmm.
said, they sneakily are able to get guys. Was able to get Dante Moore. I mean, obviously he left. Was able to get a guy like a Jalen Phillips. Going back a little bit further, getting a guy like a Mercedes Lewis, and
Hmm.
just countless other guys that they've been able to get a Josh Rosen some years back, which they are a nice destination to go to, right?
Yeah.
But I have to put them at tier three. You got a new coach. He's gonna have to work through the first time coach, blunders. But hopefully that brother is successful. But I have them currently at tier three, and if some things go their way, they could quickly make their way up to tier two.
Right. I agree, bro. I agree. I agree. I look, well said, bro. I'm gonna leave it right there. I ain't gonna touch on that. I like everything you said about that. I agree wholeheartedly with that. There's not I couldn't have said it better myself, bro. Let's keep it moving. Now we got USC with Lincoln Riley. Now they did lose 20 to the portal, but I guess that's average nowadays. I
Yeah.
guess you just lose 20 people to the portal. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
it's a lot of people to lose to me in the portal, man. But sheesh. But I got a question, bro. Is it fair or is it crazy for me to say that USC is moving backwards? Are they moving backwards? Or are they moving forward, bro? With Lincoln Riley?
Oh, snap.
Because look, I mean, in 2022, and I don't really like to go back. They were 11-3, 8-1 in the conference in the Pac-12. Last year they were 8-5 and 5-4 in the conference in the Pac-12. This year they will be in the Big Ten, and the way that it's looking like they're trending backwards. But it is a Lincoln Riley team, and you want to give them the benefit of doubt. But they lost 20 players to the portal. But I will say that okay, they did grab up Jaquavius Marks from help me out here, bro. Mississippi, right? Mississippi State, the running back. But he was injured. Will he be healthy? You know what I mean? Like he struggled and he went off against Arizona. He balled against Arizona. He had 24 carries for 125 yards. He had 8 carries in the LSU game for 75 yards, no touchdowns. He had against South Carolina, he carried the ball 12 times, had 27 yards and a touchdown. And against Alabama, he had 9 carries for 68 yards. And this is Jaquavius Marks, what they're getting, who they're getting now. Excuse me. They grabbed the safety up from UCLA, who we just talked about, and Kamari Ramsey. And I really like the linebacker that they got from Oregon State. I really like that guy, Eastern Arnold. I like him. I don't know how to pronounce the first part of his last name, so I just say Arnold. From the Oregon State, that linebacker, he can play. 5'11", 228. He was second in the Pac-12 in tackles with 49 solo tackles, 57 assist tackles. He had 106 total, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. The kid can just flat out ball, and I really like the way he plays. So they did replace some of their key pieces in the portal. I won't say they lost everything, and but the question is, okay, Jaden Mavia from the quarterback they got from University of Las Vegas, 6'4", 220, completed 224 passes of his 353, 64%, 3,085 yards. He passed for 17 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And they lost the kid. Help me out here, bro. What was the kid's name they lost? That quarterback. He went to he went to Boise State. Kid that went to Boise State, Malachi.
Yeah, Malachi Nelson.
Malachi, yeah, okay, Malachi Nelson. And I don't, but I guess you could say Mavia played in college, but he was a freshman last year doing this as a freshman, and he started his first season at the University of Las Vegas, Nevada, Las Vegas, excuse me. And he does have that experience, but I just cannot say if they're trending in the right way because some of these players were hurt besides Arnold, the linebacker. So I mean, I don't know. That'll be my question for you, and then you can go into it, bro. Do you think this team is trending backwards, bro?
Oh man, bro, that's a hell of a question. Are they trending backwards?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna say this. I think Lincoln Riley maybe is positioning himself for NFL gig. I do think he's doing that. Looking at their recruiting class, it was a top 20 class, but we're talking USC. We're talking y'all should have a top 10, top 7 recruiting class, top 20. So just kind of looking at that alone, then like you say, you lose out on the Malachi Nelson. He transfers over to Boise State. Don't necessarily know what transpired in that situation. A lot of rumblings, a lot of rumors were going on about what was going on in that situation. Um, I'm not gonna say they're trending backwards. I'll just say they're stagnant right now.
Okay.
I'll say they're
Fair.
stagnant. Yeah.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah. I'll say they're stagnant. Um, don't have a lot of returning production. Just 50% of returning production. Again, these numbers do not reflect, transfers that, they've gotten in. They may be aggressive after this spring period is over, attacking, trying to get some guys. Lincoln Riley is known to tamper with some guys. He, so so you never know.
Yeah.
It could be tampering as we speak. So,
Right.
but
Right.
right now, I'll say they're stagnant, and I think and I think one of the bigger problems is, and I can't say this is why you're thinking that, but
Uh-huh.
I think when you just look at the end of last year, you go to a bowl game, you lose to Tulane, who threw I believe, three total passes that entire game.
Mm,
Y'all
mm,
went
mm,
10-3.
mm,
How do
mm.
y'all lose to a team? How is your defense that bad that a team can go in there and beat you guys and only throw the ball 3 times? Or maybe had 3 completions. I'll say that. Maybe 3 completions. Maybe they threw it more, but had 3 completions the entire game.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Um, and then to come back this next year and just underperform. So I think their program is stagnant right now.
Okay.
But I do think that similar to Kalen DeBoer, I do think that Lincoln Riley is probably maybe in the next 2, maybe 3 years, he's going to the NFL. So,
Yeah. Yeah. He going to the
so
NFL. The guy
yeah,
going. All right. I got you. I got you on that. And it was a question I had to ask, bro, because when you know the way that we like to research, bro. You see things, and we looking at it, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at that, and I'm saying this. It don't seem like it's moving the same way as Oklahoma was, man.
not at all.
You know what I
Not at
mean?
all. Yep.
It
Excuse me.
just it just don't seem like the same way that USC is moving in the same direction Oklahoma was, and that really raised some red flags to me. And I'm like, man, is it fair for me to ask that question? And I guess so. You can ask that question without it being a dumb question or a stupid question. You know what I mean? It's not a rhetorical question at all because you don't know the answer to that. That is a fair assessment or a fair question to ask. Is USC trending backwards? You know what I mean? Because look, I mean, we're so used to Oklahoma just coming out, what, 11-1, 12-1, 12-1, 11-1. Yeah, they losing big games and they might lose their ball games, but every year they're coming out and only taking that one L and coming back and fighting again. I just don't see the same thing happening in University of Southern California, and that's all I wanted to say, bro. But
Yeah,
I do,
I
like I
agree.
said,
I
okay,
agree. I agree.
nice. All right, man. Moving on to the next team. We almost getting to the end of this thing here, man. We about to be gone, man. We got Washington, and that thing got one more after that, but we got Washington. Okay. I can't wait for this one, right? Because I'm a little messy, bro. I like getting a little messy. I like, I like, I like getting messy a little bit sometimes, bro. You know me. So Jed Fish, he had a good thing going at AZ, if you ask me, y'all. I mean, let's just keep it real. If you ask me, he had a good thing going. But what the Washington job opened up, he took it. And in most recent rumors, we all know that they say he applied for the UCLA job and he said, no, I didn't. That's what he said. But it just so happened that the UCLA administrators were all the way 1,000 and something miles up in Mexico the same time as he was. I'm just saying, it just seemed to be that way, right? You know what I mean? All right, but I guess it happens, all right? My thing is loyalty. Loyalty, okay? And I say that because it is going to be needed from a coach in the Big Ten. This is no longer a throwaway conference in the Pac 12 where media deals is messed up and everything. The Big Ten has, and if it is notified correctly, it could do a lot of damage. This could do a lot of damage to a program if not notified on leaving the job. If he were to, this could do a lot of damage to a program trying to compete in this conference. Trying to pick up and leave on the team in this conference, or even rumors of that, can hurt hugely. Because right now, Washington has a very good thing going. Very good thing for him to pick up on Jed Fish and to keep continuing going on. All right. Now, moving on. So they pick up Will Rogers. They got Will Rogers, bro, 6'2", 215. He completed 142 of his 237 passes for 60%, 1,626 yards, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I wouldn't say that was a huge pickup, but I do like Jonah Coleman following him over from Arizona. I like that back. I like that guy, man. He runs hard and then certain. You hear me? He is the perfect back, if you ask me, for the smash mouth football of the Big Ten. Look, 128 carries, 871 yards, 5 touchdowns, 25 receptions, 283 yards and a touchdown. And Jonah Coleman, y'all, he's 5'9", 225, so he built like a solid little bowling ball rock, just bowling people over. And the only question I have, bro, for you, and I'm gonna give it to you, is what will the defense of Jad Fish look like in Washington? If it's close to anything we've seen in Arizona, I think that'd be a fair team in the Big Ten.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm, kind of just looking at returning production. Washington absolutely got bent over, essentially, with this Kalen DeBoer situation.
Mm-hmm.
19% returning production on offense, 52% returning on defense, but they lost some key guys. Like you say, you lost to Muhammad. We were able to get one of their starting safeties. Offensive line, obviously, those guys scattered out and went their different places. I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see how what Jed Fish does. Um, Me personally, but I don't. This is just me from the outside. I would have stayed at Arizona. Personally, you had a good thing going. I think um,
Yeah.
you had a good quarterback there
Yeah.
already. Now, not saying he's Will Rogers. I think Will Rogers, probably is a good quarterback as well. But
Okay.
that would have been good to kind of see you build in Arizona. And I think maybe if he would have stayed at Arizona, he quite possibly could have got maybe a better job than in Washington. But he has his work cut out for him, right? I'm
Yeah.
familiar. I'm familiar with Jed Fish because Jed Fish was the offensive coordinator at
Mm-hmm.
the University of Miami before he went to the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And what most people said about him was that he wasn't that strong of a recruiter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just gonna be it's gonna be kind of interesting to see. But Jed Fish is a great coach. He's a great coach. Um, what he did again, like you mentioned, what he did at Arizona was good. Especially with this particular year. But I just think it's going to be interesting to kind of see what he does. And like you say, that UCLA thing, that's another thing I want to add about the UCLA situation, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Let's talk about it.
that was ugly.
Very, very. Let's
So
talk about it.
that was ugly. I mean, I don't know
Tannehill.
Jeff. I don't know Jed Fish, but that would have been the slimiest of the slime. That would have been career just like I'm not gonna say the S word, but that would have just,
Yes.
bro, that would have been
Yes.
absolutely awful.
Yes.
Had those particular things occurred. But the Washington team that we've seen the past 2 years, we're not gonna see that Washington team anymore.
No, that's not this. That's what I'm saying. That's not this. That's why I said if we can see that's why I said if we can see what we saw in Arizona, some of that, then I think there'll be a fair Big Ten team because I don't think we're gonna see the Washington team what we saw. But speaking on that move, man, I don't think a lot of people touched on that, man, because like there was like there ain't no way in hell. Okay, what could you compare that to? Could you compare that to okay? Everybody, we're all going to the mall. All of us in here, we're all going to the mall. We're all going to the shoe store. We're all going to the damn shoe store. I don't know. No, we can't compare that to that. We can't compare that to that. That's a whole different situation. But still, that's crazy. You go 1,000 something miles away in Mexico, and you just so happen to be there at the same damn time as the UCLA administrators. Like, what's the chances of that happening, bro? When the jobs open, though, when they're still interviewing for a head coaching job, like, what's the chances of that happening? Like, and to try to put some rumors to bed like that, like what that could do to a team. And believe it or not, in my weird way of thinking, y'all, in the way that I analyze things, y'all, I think that he may have lost a couple of people in that locker room with this move, and that what happened through the news, and he got to earn back that team's trust. And that's why I put in there in the beginning loyalty matters, especially in the Big Ten. Just like Shad said, just like you said, bro, that would have ended everything because they just moved into the Big Ten. It's a huge conference, and that would have just set that team all the way back, like
Yeah.
all the way back. You know what I mean? They'd have
Right.
left them in the dumpster. That'd have been huge. Like I like, I don't even know. Like if hopefully he would have got the job. You know, like if he would have got let's hope he would have got it. You know, but yeah, that would have been ugly, man. Very ugly. Man, that'd have been bad, bro. And I don't think enough people touched on that or even talked about that because that's huge in football, bro. That was, bro. Like I'm like, there's no way. That just don't make sense to me. That did it. It did it. All right. You ready to move on, bro? You want to keep touching on this one?
No, man, it's gonna be rough for the Huskies.
It is, man. It is, and I think he knew that, and I think that's why, and a little, and that's another reason why. To add, that was a little bit more reason why I was thinking he may have interviewed for that UCLA job, low key, bro.
It's
Like,
possible.
you know what I mean? Like, he may have, because things is it ain't gonna be easy for them Huskies. He ain't got that same team at all, at all. All right. So, all right, but before we move on to Wisconsin, so had he stayed with that Arizona team, let's just say hypothetically that same Arizona team goes into the Big Ten. How do you think that Arizona team does in the Big Ten?
Ooh, man.
Okay, good, bad, meteor, medium,
I probably,
tier.
s- I would probably say a ceiling of 9 and maybe getting
Mm,
that 10th win in a bowl game because you got to think when you got a good quarterback in college football, you
mm.
have something that a lot of teams don't have. So I think they could have probably been a 9-win team.
I think
Um,
he should have just stayed in Arizona, man. If he had stayed in Arizona, I think they would have been they definitely would have been a top team in the Big 12 for sure, for sure. For sure, for sure.
yeah,
You could have probably even argued them even probably winning the Big 12 this year. Maybe. I don't know. I'm saying like with the team he got returned, I'm just saying if he would have stayed there, they was trending the right way. But sad to see that gone, man. Sad to see that gone.
yeah. And now that you said, when you say it like that, it's like you go from a situation that you're on a team that you win the Big 12, you got an automatic playoff bid. I mean, you're in the playoffs,
Facts.
and now you're going
Facts.
to Washington, which is a much tougher situation in a much tougher conference.
Right.
And that
Right.
fan base, they went to the national championship game. They were on the doorsteps the year before, and now they're going back down to the quote unquote dungeon with a coach that
May or may not want to be there.
I'm not even gonna say whether he wants to be there or not. We don't know if you're gonna be able to build that into anything.
Right. So
So
mm, that's what I'm saying, bro. I didn't think leaving Arizona when and it just happened so abruptly. Like it was so fast. It was just like a blink of an eye. Like soon as the job opened up at Washington, he was like, "Oh, here go Jad Fish." Like Jad Fish takes the job at Washington. Like what? What? No, Jad Fish ain't leave Arizona. He did not leave that quarterback out there like that. He had a nice quarterback, nice receivers. They got a nice running game. Hey, building on that, you know what I mean? He'd have had it. I think he was what 2 or 3 pieces away on that defense to make that defense a dominant, arguably elite defense for the Big 12. And but man, look, we could talk about that all day, bro. But
yeah,
I just don't really see why he would make that change to go to Washington, bro. I don't. It didn't add up to me at all. And now they're in the Big Ten, and I don't think that they're going to feel ready. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the Big
yeah,
Ten with
yeah.
them,
We'll
but
see.
I, you know, just guessing off top, man. If that last year's Washington teams in the Big Ten, yeah, they're a top tier team. But right now, I got to put them right now the way that things looking, and just because of Jad Fish and his coaching experience, I'll give them a tier 2, but a low tier 2 team in the Big Ten right now. And that's just because of his coaching experience and what's going on. That's all. The mess that's cleaning up. But all right, Wisconsin, bro. They finished 7-6 last year, 5-4 in conference play, bro. They lost 15 people to the transfer portal, but they seem to have replaced the positions pretty well. I know Tyler Van Dyke may be missed in Miami. I honestly think that just was a place for him to be. Seeing everything that I have seen from the Hurricanes and looking at it in totality and being an outsider, Jakari Brown should definitely Jakari should just been he should have been a quarterback. You gotta let him play, let him get his experience. I believe he could have had you guys 6-6 last year. This is just me. 6-6 last year and into a bowl game and improving on and getting better and getting the college Power Five reps and getting and you know what I'm saying and improving every year. Um, but that's neither near here or there. Okay, but Tyler Van Dyke going over to Wisconsin, I think that he'll be a decent fit up there. I think that this is a team that is under the radar right now. Honestly, I really do because you heard a lot of good things from Tyler, especially from Jakari. I know I did, and how the rough was how things was going down there, and last season it wasn't a fairy tale ending at all. But they did go pick up that linebacker from USC, Tackett Curtis. We know he's a beast, 4-star. Anytime you rank the 4-star, 90 overall, 91 overall, you got to be able to ball. Jaheim Thomas, linebacker from Arkansas, and they have a returning safety and Hunter Waller, 6'2", 211 pound, 11 pounds. He was third in the Big Ten for tackles. He had 120 total, 74 solo, 46 assisted tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions. He was flying everywhere, bro. Let's just say that, and he's coming back. And also they got Jake Chaney. They have a lot of people coming back. Period. Let's just say that the defense is not a worry to me, Shay, at all, bro. And
at
under
all.
I mean at all. They not a worry to me at all. The question marks is on offense. And if they step up that offense, I think Wisconsin goes right back to being in the prominence in the land of the holy and good that they were. What do you think, bro?
I do. I do. I think that with Luke Fickle, what he was able to do at the University of Cincinnati, being able to go down, a level and get all of the experience that he got, kind of get some of those issues that young coaches have out of the way. And now he's stepping into a premier program in Wisconsin. And when I say premier, I really mean that. Like literally right behind Ohio State, if we're talking about a longevity standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin has probably been the second most productive or second best program in the Big Ten behind Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Luke Fickle will get them back there. I know a lot of my Hurricane fans, they don't got a lot of wild stuff they said about Tyler Van Dyke, but I think that Phil Longo is a guy that I think can get something out of Tyler up there. Um, they're a good team, man. I,
Yeah,
re-
they
I,
are.
I, I really, I
They
really
are.
do think, I really do think they're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are more. To be honest with you, I think they've been more proactive in some of these particular things than maybe a Michigan State has been in
Mm-hmm.
terms of trying to get some things together. Like I said, but like you said, with Luke Fickle being there, defense is going to be on point. Phil Longo there, offense is going to be there. Just kind of thinking about how Phil Longo would call offense when he was at North Carolina with the likes of a Drake May and even a Sam Howell. I think that could help out.
Mm-hmm.
If TVD is healthy, I do think that they could be a dark horse team that, as you have said multiple times on this broadcast, they could be a team that could mess up the show. But they're good enough to mess it up, but you're not gonna mess them up, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And seeing is that, and I'll say this right now, and people can go back to this show or whatever. If things are rolling for Wisconsin, I think Wisconsin, because I think the Big Ten will actually probably get maybe 4 to 5 playoff spots. I think Wisconsin could be one of those teams to get one of those playoff spots from the Big
Uh,
Ten.
you heard it here first from the fans' point of view. You heard it here first. Yeah, you hear me? Like, hey, bro, Chad, I really now every week, bro, every week, I must say, every week when we get to doing our homework and we get to combining our stats and we get to talking, there's a team that I like each week. That's why I love doing this. I enjoy doing this because there's a team that I like every week. And I must say that Wisconsin is my team of this week that I just really like got a crush on, I should say. I got a crush on Wisconsin right now, bro. Like for real, bro. Nah, because look, when I got the really deep diving into Wisconsin, what they're doing, and believe me, I had to look because it was not there. They're not making. That's what I said. It's not in the headlines. It's not sexy. It's not the popular thing to do. But they are doing it right. They are doing it right. They're trending in the right way. If you ask me, and man, they they about to hit some people in the head, man. And I like, and believe it or not, I like what Tyler Van Dyke was doing, man. I seen what he was trying to do. It seemed like it just, so every place ain't for somebody. I think he'll do better up in Wisconsin, if you feel me, with it being a little bit more I don't want to say slower, but not as fast paced as Miami. Let's say it that way. You know what I mean? There's a lot of distractions in Miami, especially for a young 21, 22-year-old man. You know what I mean? And he don't have all of that up there. You know what I'm saying? And everybody can't handle that, because I don't know if me at 20 years old playing football in shape, 12 pack football player in Miami. Like, bro, I don't even know if I'm going to football practice sober. Not ever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably coming there with stripper glitter on me, something. You know what I mean? Like, that's just hard to do. So, Tyler Van Dyke being up there in Wisconsin, I think was a good move, man. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do up there, because if he can not turn the ball over so much up there, but do what he did, bro. I mean, look, Wisconsin, like I said, they got something going on up there, man. And yeah, me and Shad said it, y'all. They will definitely be in the college football playoff, and the team that will ruin a bunch of seasons and maybe even steal the show up there. We'll see. They may do that, man. Look, man, I appreciate you rocking out with me, man, today, man. We're gonna have to get up on her soon. And we're gonna have to we're gonna have to get up on here soon, because our next one, y'all, don't forget to go check out South Coast Kane. So he's on Mondays. I just found that out, and I'm gonna be stopping through on Mondays now. And the South Coast Kane is supporting, because he always supporting us for sure. So make sure y'all go support him. Our next one, we're gonna be talking about, I don't know when, hopefully we get it together, but soon.
Yeah,
but players that should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Like I said, we're gonna try to do something midweek, maybe a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something like this. So we're really gonna try to get that together. And then, like I said, Saturday's gonna be our big show. But yeah, that's an interesting topic, because not to spoil it, but I think that there needs, like, to kind of piggyback off of what Deion Sanders said.
Right.
I do think they do need to build an additional room.
For
it just for the elite Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
It needs to be a 2 deep. And if you're good enough to pass someone in that particular room, you get in there.
Period.
But if not, you just let the regular Hall of Fame. But like I said, we'll get more into that. I don't want to spoil the show.
I don't want to spoil it neither, but I do want to give a little sneak peek into what I might be talking about, where I might be going with players that should be in the Hall of Fame. And a lot of people might have been hearing his name lately, but Greg Townsend from the Raiders, man, he should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. There is no reason why he should not be in the Hall of Fame. He was a Super Bowl winner, 2-time Pro Bowler. And y'all, anytime you have a career with 109 sacks, you should be in the damn Hall of Fame. And I believe it's going to put to bed that, to a lot of people out here, that we show respect. With me and Shad do, we show respect. We may be younger guys, but we know our football, and we know the history of football, and we respect this sport, and we love this sport. And this is a way of giving back too, also with that. You know what I'm saying? Coming out here and letting some of these younger guys know that might see us about people that should be in the Hall of Fame. Because there's a lot out there, and it should there. He said, yeah, is a 2-time Pro Bowler enough for the Hall of Fame? Look, a Studio Live, I believe a 2-time Pro Bowler is absolutely good enough for the Hall of Fame. Making the Pro Bowl one time back then was a totally different standard than what it is now. And that's why this
Totally.
show was going to be so damn good when me and Shaq come live with this show. It's going to be so damn good, and that's why, because of questions just like what you just asked. Yeah, but is a two-time Pro Bowler good enough for the Hall of Fame? You damn right it is, because football is not played the same way it was played in the 1980s and the early 90s. These damn receivers can't even get hit nowadays. These motherfuckers can't even get hit. You know what I'm saying? So just think about people getting hit. You got to worry about going across the middle, catching the pass, and getting smacked at the same time. They ain't got to worry about the same thing. Let's say, for instance, Jerry Rice had to go through, or Michael Irvin had to go through. You know what I mean? And you got to think, to have 109 sacks in the era that Greg Townsend was in, studio live, that's amazing. Because what did they do back then? They didn't pass the ball. That wasn't a passing league like it is now. It was a run league. So what they passed what maybe 30 times a game, 25 a game back then. So that's a lot, bro. You gotta think from that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, from that perspective, I think so. But we're gonna get up into it though. Just make sure you hear it though. He says, if so, then how can we have a tier 2 Hall of Fame? I think that other stats will help a 2-time Pro Bowler, but not good enough with that alone. I'm not. There's more. There's more, and that's why you need to be there, studio. Hey, studio, that's why you should be there at this when we do this live midweek. Make sure that you tune in, because it's going to be great. We're going to have these conversations. It's going to arise questions, and we're going to bounce our opinions off of that. This is the Fans Point of View podcast. This is our point of view. This is a show for our voices to be heard, safe space for us to speak what we speak on, and we love the sport. And I'm telling you, like, yes, it's hard as hell to make the Pro Bowl back then. There's no way, like, there's so much harder, bro. So much. It's so hard to make the Pro Bowl back then. So hard, bro. It was not the same standard at all. I don't think so. Shad, bro, what you got to say about that real quick, bro? Like, I mean, we ain't gonna go into it. We're gonna save it, but like, what do you have to say about that? To make the Pro Bowl back, and he said as a 2-time Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl winner, 109 sacks enough to go into the Hall of Fame.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Shannon Sharp has spoke about this numerous times on his show. Well, when he's been asked about it, the Pro Bowl meant something, back then. But right now it's a popularity contest, and obviously with the NFL growing, things like that are going to happen. But most definitely, 109 sacks in
Yeah.
that particular era is
Yes.
cra- is that's a lot of sacks to
A
get,
lot of
and
sacks.
in an era where
They didn't
it's
pass the
three yard
ball.
it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
You're right. Right. They didn't pass the ball in that era. You know what I'm saying? So that's like, you know what I mean? He said, so studio live. Hey, studio, I just want you to come through, man. We gonna do we gonna advertise and make sure that you following me and Shad at Shad. You can follow Shad at Shad1419 on X, on Instagram, or on YouTube. Make sure that you on here, because we'll be advertising the show. You can follow me, Sports with Truck and Chubby, on X, on YouTube. We'll be advertising the show, because I want you to come through here, and I want you to add what you have to say in the comments, and we'll answer them questions then. I don't really want to get into the show now, but we was going to have a very long show today. We was going to add that. My man had to attend to some family business today. Um, can I say it, bro? Can
Yeah,
I say,
you can say it.
my man, y'all? I want y'all to give Shad a round of applause, because he about to be a daddy, y'all. He about to be a daddy, y'all. Shad about to be a daddy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. You know what I mean? That's for sure. He said Shad seems to be a real Canes fan, so I rock with Shad. You should rock with me too, man. We this is a space for us all, man, that come in here and talk and enjoy each other, and because this conversation, that's why I know this conversation is going to be great. Y'all do not want to miss this show. I'm telling you, this midweek show is going to be all the way live, yo. I'm telling you. He said, I be that youngin's pappy. Hey, yo, this show gonna be live, man. We're gonna get them conversations going, man. It's gonna be super dope. He said, congratulations, Shad. Congratulations. Y'all don't forget this to check out South Coast Kane on Monday. Right after Monday, we're gonna be bouncing back up out here either on Tuesday or Wednesday. With that, player should be in the Hall of Fame show. So I'm telling you, don't miss it. Tell everybody to come over here because we are going to have these conversations, y'all, that everybody should be having. You heard me? Just know that fans' point of view with Shad and Trucker Chubby said it first. All right. We said it first. All right. Just be here. I appreciate y'all coming through, stopping, man. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna run our video, man, and then look, guess what, y'all? We gotta be on up out of here. Peace.
Wanna see Truck and Chubby live with co-host Shad? Tune in at Fans Point of View, Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time. But in the meantime, in between time, enjoy the content. Don't forget to hit your notification bell for all updates. Thank you for watching.